Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the latest on moves to join the Pan-European Mediterranean Convention. I've discussed this a few times over the past year and a half. Sounds boring, but it's actually one of the most obvious moves for the Labour government to make if they want to break down some trade barriers without crossing over the red lines in the manifesto. But the usual suspects are complaining that Labour are ruling this out today, despite the fact that the reality is the government have begun the process of joining. So what's really going on? But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button so you stay notified. So first of all, really quickly, what is the Pan-European Mediterranean Convention, or PEM for short, and how would it benefit us? Well, by leaving the customs union, this is about the customs union, not the single market, we are now subject to tariffs on our exports to the single market. Now, some people think, no, Phil, we've got a tariff-free trade deal with the EU. Boris Johnson said so. But he left something important out. Now, we can export to the EU tariff-free, but only if the goods meet what's called rules of origin. Basically, the goods have to be deemed to be about at least half made in either the UK or EU to qualify, although there are some other percentages for certain goods. So using components or raw materials sourced from outside these areas counts against rules of origin. It means that actually there are quite a few things that we want to export to the EU which will face tariffs. But even if the goods do qualify, still not plain sailing, because you have to prove it. You go there, oh, there'll be tariffs. No, there's no tariffs, this meets rules of origin. Oh, okay, can you prove it? Paperwork and the time needed to get that can be costly. And also, because you might need documentation from suppliers overseas, who might not think it's in their interest to spend the time doing it for you, sometimes you can struggle to prove it. Bottom line is some British exports to the EU face tariffs, despite what Johnson said, but joining the PEM would help. The PEM is a looser customs arrangement that includes all EEC members, along with some countries in Europe and North Africa. Any materials or components sourced from any of these countries counts as qualifying for rules of origin when exporting goods to any other. So if we join, then we could source some components or materials from the likes of Ukraine, Morocco, Egypt, for example, include them in the production of a British product, and those components which currently count against rules of origin will suddenly count in favour. It will mean exporting businesses in Britain will have an easier and cheaper time selling to single market customers, and all of the businesses in the same supply chain will also benefit, whether they sell to the EU or not. And of course, it works the other way, meaning that some goods may become cheaper in Britain that we are importing from the EU. So joining is a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it? Are there any downsides? Not really, no. It doesn't break any of Labour's red lines on membership of the EU, customs union or single market, nor does it involve any hint of freedom of movement. Labour have also kicked the process off by launching consultations with businesses to see what they think. Now, there is no doubt that the response will be positive. Very few businesses could possibly lose out. Lots of businesses will gain, and most businesses who don't see their own involvement won't care either way. So it seems likely that the consultation is being carried out so that Labour have ammunition if the Brexiteers get a bit antsy about it. I don't think there's much reason to suppose they will. Nigel Farage will try and make a fuss about it, probably Kemi Badenoch, she's that daft. But I don't recall seeing any major attack pieces in the Brexit media, when the issue has been discussed on the fringes of the Labour Party since 2023. I heard a Labour MP talking very excitedly about the prospect of joining during an event at the Labour conference that year. They were unlikely to have looked like the cat that got the cream over it if it hadn't already been discussed approvingly by the leadership at the time, and they were satisfied that this is something that we were definitely going to be doing. So why are some people thinking that Labour are turning the prospect of joining down? Well, it's our old friend No Plans again. A headline appeared which read, Minister rules out UK joining Pan-Europe Trade Agreement. But it's yet another long line in a list of headlines which is immediately contradicted in the article itself. The phrase used by a government minister was, and I quote, just so we're clear, we're not seeking to participate in it at the present time. So two warning lights there. First, not seeking has been used before to describe something Labour did later on anyway. And second, at the present time means just that. At the present time, Labour are not giving the vote to 16 and 17-year-olds, but we know they're going to by the end of the year. We haven't formally applied to join. So the statement is accurate. The government are planning to join, which is why they've launched a consultation. You only launch a consultation if either you genuinely don't know what certain stakeholders think, so that's why you do it, or you know what the answers are going to be in advance and you want those answers to back up your position. Well, everyone knows that businesses will be mostly in favour of the move, so the consultation can only provide backup for joining. If Labour didn't want to join, they wouldn't be launching this consultation. In addition, when the government were asked about the PM, they said that joining it does not breach any of their red lines. Now, you combine this with the fact that I've heard a lot of positive talk within Labour for joining, and that Labour still say that closer trading relations with the EU is their top priority. And what we have here is just another Labour comms mess, but it's nothing more than that. David Hennig, one of the more useful sources of UK-EU policy expertise, has described this as yet again Labour being too cagey about something they don't need to be cagey about at all. He is certainly frustrated by the fact Labour seem unable to talk positively about anything until there have been official discussions. All the things some rejoiners are bellyaching about, the youth mobility scheme, the PM, Trump, it's like it's all going to happen as they want it to happen. People inside Labour have been saying so off the record for ages. It is annoying that they could happen more quickly if the leadership would just stop playing pointless games, listen to experts a bit more than the idiots who keep flapping about, what do Brexit supporters in Barnsley think? Brexit supporters in Barnsley don't give a shit. They didn't give a shit about joining the CPTPP. They don't give a shit about this. They don't know the difference. They don't know what it is. They care about boats and immigrants. This has got nothing to do with either. So it's another flap on the part of two groups making a meal of something that is a waste of time. The Labour government, because they think they have to wait for formal talks before they can talk about even obvious ways to deepen our relationship with the EU, which they have no problem saying is their top foreign policy priority, even since Trump's election. And the other group who say they want us to move close to the EU, even rejoin, and yet seem to spend all their time trying to find reasons to argue against their own preferred outcomes. But at the end of the day, when we're reflecting on this Parliament as we approach the next general election, whether it be 2028 or 2029, let me tell you what I think part of that reflection is going to be. We will have joined a youth mobility scheme with the EU. We will be in the Pan-European Mediterranean Convention. We won't have a free trade agreement with the United States. But we'll also say that things happened more slowly than they could have because Labour were wasting time with excessive formality. You might almost say excessive red tape. But we'll also say that all those people who kept believing mainstream media headlines without reading the articles wasted a lot of time which could have been used more productively, pushing the government on areas where they are being a bit stubborn. That's my crystal ball gazing for today. By all means, make a note, come back to me in 3 years' time if I'm wrong. I won't be. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.